Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, April 21, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
David Rivera, Bureau of Street Services.
Roshan Aflaki, Bureau of Sanitation.
Alan Kawaguchi, Bureau of Engineering.
Kimberly Fitzpatrick, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received speaker cards under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section and no speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, we will close our Neighborhood Council category of commentary. On a communication item, agenda item number 3, a stop notice. California Field Iron Workers Trust Funds have transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $8,642.67 for furnishing union, journeyman, and apprentice labor related to unpaid benefits for the United Steel Placers Incorporated, an apparent subcontractor in connection with the Riverside Drive Viaduct replacement over the LA River project. The contractor is Flatiron West Incorporated. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 3 forthwith by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Monday, April 3rd, 2017 by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. We will close the Neighborhood Council category of commentary, and we will start with our general public comment this morning with Dr. Tom Williams. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Dr. Tom Williams, Citizens Coalition for a Safe Community, based out of Culver City. However, we're also working with the people called Save Porter Ranch. And we reviewed a lot of stuff from the Aliso Canyon gas storage facility. Fundamental. One document says that there was a subsurface shutoff valve on the well that blew out, and that it had been there since at least 2001 up to 2015. But in public hearings, gas companies said, oh, we took that out in 1979. Thereby, all of the logs that were done for the blowout well were in error, or they lied. And those were submitted to the state of California as compliance with a state permit. They lied. Other wells in the same area also say that they have subsurface shutoff valves until 2016, when they went back through and found that they didn't have. Aliso Canyon is outside of the city of Los Angeles. However, we have the same situation occurring in a place called Playa del Rey Gas Company storage facility. We had the same problem when we did actually a PUC study for the Montebello. We finally gave up and told them, we can't get the documents from the gas company, even though we're consultants to the CPUC. CPUC came back in and fined them over $5 million because they had, without disclosure, bought
2 minutes.
15 houses because they had a gas leak in each house. So they lied. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Avi Tirosh?
Yes, Avi Tirosh. I'm a resident of Playa del Rey. I live above the gas facility, the gas storage facility. I attended a meeting about 4 or 5 years, maybe 4 years ago, prior to what happened at the other facility. And I came, and this was after the big explosion that happened in Playa del Rey. So nothing has been done. The Safety and Min Committee ordered the gas company to be more transparent and further keep hearings will be conducted. Nothing happened. Recently, there was a big erosion at the gas company facility. It's hard for me to, I mean, the erosion goes all the way from the top, all the way to Cabora Drive. And they are claiming, the gas company is claiming that this area, and I'm reading from his email, I asked him because this is making my property decline in value. I live on the bluff and everybody is concerned about erosion and they don't do anything. And what the public relation person said, the black plastic sheets is protecting erosion from the city-owned lot within our boundaries. I have a conditional use permit, there are numerous violations on those permits. It's from 1955, but nobody wants to listen. I guess we'll have to have another explosion, another disaster before something will happen.
Thank you, Mr. Tarosh. Any other cards, Mr. Campos, on general public comment?
None.
Okay. Agenda item number 2, Authority for Expenditure, CDM Smith, Office of Accounting and Bureau of Sanitation, requesting board approval and execution of authority for expenditure in the amount of $30,000 for support in completion of the 2016 North American Wetlands Conservation Act grant application for the Machado Lake Ecosystem Rehabilitation Project. Mr. Wang?
Good morning,
I'm
Board.
sorry, Ms. Wang?
It's okay.
Go ahead.
So we want to get the AFE approved for work that has been completed. The reason for it was because the request from the mayor's office came at a very short notice. The city did not have staffing and resources to complete the application for the grant in a timely fashion. The reason why CD Smith was chosen as the sole source for the work was because they were at the time already in the design phase. So they understood the site details as well as existing conditions and the proposed project. And the result of the grant application is that it was not awarded. And for right now, the request is just to complete the documentation so we can issue the payment for work already completed by the consultant.
Okay, for the, well, it's related to NACWA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I read the, okay. And we're completing grant documents?
The grant documents were completed and the application was submitted in
Right.
2016 and it was not awarded. This documentation is to complete the backup documentation so we can issue payment to the consultant for work already completed last year.
Oh, so work already completed?
Yes.
Got it. And the grant was not awarded?
It was not.
Bummer.
Yes.
Okay.
But we did learn lessons from it.
Yeah, so we have opportunities going forward on the grant application?
For this one specifically, you mean, or for the project?
Well, for future grant applications is more or less the question. Lessons learned from this one. Are there going to be future opportunities for similar grants?
I think in general, we have improved processes so that we can be more capable of dealing with very last-minute requests from offices. And that will be one of the lessons learned, aside from the fact that completing the work and not having payments authorized fully is a challenge.
How much was the grant application how much was the grant that we were applying for?
Unfortunately, I do not have that answer. This was not my project.
Okay.
But I can find that information and provide to you at a later date.
Okay. Because, look, I recognize the value and advocate regularly. I think we ought to do more of it, frankly. The use of outside consultants for grant writing to the extent we need it, because I hate to leave that money on the table. And I think that money is well spent. But when the unfortunate occurrence happens that we don't receive a grant, we don't receive every grant we apply for, obviously. there are lessons learned that help us, with future grant applications. Commissioner Cinto?
Thank you, President James. I would just sort of second and follow up to your request or your statements and ask for, usually government agencies or whoever the granting body will give you feedback if you request it. And, because the scope of work is right down our alley in terms of environmental issues and bird populations. And so we just want to be prepared if we're going to invest in a third party to help us, that we would want that formal feedback on record so we can incorporate it and get those grants.
Yes, we do have a practice where we retain briefing notes after applications are unsuccessful, and from those we generally pull lessons learned, so we can generally improve our processes along the way. I'm sure for this one specifically we have done so as well. If you would like the information, I can look into it with the original engineer that worked on the application and provide that for the board.
Well, this would be with the funding body itself, a formal feedback or formal program review or grant application review. Not so much internal, but from the granting
Yes,
organization.
exactly. Yeah, the briefing notes come generally from the grantor.
Okay.
They, at least in recent practice, it is customary to talk to the applicant, and give them general feedback as to how they can improve for the next round of applications.
Any other questions? Commissioner Rivas?
I think you may have answered it. My question was, is there a next round that you know of? I mean, an opportunity to reapply?
For this one specifically, I understand the federal government does issue this on an annual basis.
Okay. So there is, you can use this grant and improve it and then resubmit.
Yes, for future applications, yes. I believe this project is either ongoing or partially ongoing by different source of funds.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas.
If I can add, Mr. President, just to raise awareness to the board, although the board may consider approving this AFE, it is subject to the Controller's Office for approval because this is an after-the-fact type of request. So just for the record.
I saw the letter in the packet to the Controller's Office.
It is part of the record, yes.
Right, yes. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wang. Anything further? Thank you, Mr. Campos. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. Is there a second, Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Ms. Wang, thank you. Have a nice weekend. Agenda item number 1. Bureau of Sanitation, Bureau of Contract Administration, Construction Services Contract Renewal, Specialized High Voltage Services. Recommending that the board authorize the Bureau to exercise the first one-year renewal option contained in the construction services contract between the City of Los Angeles and Myron, it's either Myron or Miron, but I'll go with Myron here, which means it's probably the other, Electric Construction Corporation for specialized high voltage services to modify, modernize, and perform preventative and predictive maintenance of the high voltage electrical distribution infrastructure of the city's water reclamation plants and sewage pumping plants. This will be the first of 3 one-year renewal options. All terms and conditions will remain in effect. The total contract ceiling of $6 million remains unchanged. Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. President, Commissioners, and Bureau representatives, I'm here to talk about the high voltage services contract, like you said. As you may know, City of Los Angeles and LA Sanitation operate 4 water reclamation plants and 44 sewage pumping plants. And all these facilities maintain a high voltage infrastructure and equipment. And our task is to maintain those facilities with their preventive and predictive maintenance. However, in some cases, we're unable to perform those tasks because the expertise may be proprietary, or we may not have the proper equipment to do such things, or just simply not have the staffing levels because of our depleting staff at work. So 3 years ago, LA Sanitation established the Specialized High Voltage Services Contract, and Myron Electric has been servicing this contract very effectively. We've been very pleased with their work. And today what I'm here to do is to request authority from the board to exercise the first renewal option for that contract.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. A couple of questions. I thought the board report did a nice job of summarizing the need, at least for me, for the continuation and description of what Myron, so I was right with the name of the company, is doing. What is so two questions. What's the annual spend? Is there a pattern here that we're spending each year, or kind of what would be the average annual spend? Recognizing that the ceiling is $6 million, but what are we actually spending?
The first couple of years, the expenditures were in the hundreds of thousands. Last year, we got very close to the 1 million mark, and we see that that's probably going to be the trend from now on. So we're requesting $1 million per extension of the 3 last years.
Within the cost ceiling?
Correct.
Okay. What do we do after, at the conclusion of the contract, assuming we extend it another, or we exercise the additional 2-year options, we'll go back out with an RFP?
That's correct.
Okay. My only recommendation to the Bureau in that instance is, which I know you know it, but I always like the record to be clear that we ask it. Always be mindful of the time that it takes to get the RFP process through, because it's always frustrating if we have a gap in time that we have to end up filling.
We're very concerned about those gaps, and we will get ahead of the game next time for sure.
Great, thank you, sir. Commissioner Cento.
Thank you, President James. I just wanted to, on page 9 of the document in the transmittal, it talks about the scope of work and the justification for a third-party consultant that the Bureau cannot modify or modernize high-voltage electrical equipment due to lack of certification or expertise. When we go outside the city family to a third party, that's always, for, I think, in some lens, a last step to see, is there a core competency within the city family, within, say, the Bureau of Engineering, that would be able to perform that ongoing core service of maintenance of high voltage? Can you talk a little bit about that, sir?
Yes, we do have all of our employees high voltage trained. However, the problem is that we have a difficulty maintaining or retaining our staffing levels because the Department of Water and Power takes them from us. We are called
we train them, they hire them. I've said that before. Yep.
We are called the Department of Water and Power Electrical Training Center because we hire people fully staffed. We train them for the high voltage aspect of it, and then they get picked up by Department of Water and Power, and we're left with vacancies again. So we would love to have a full staffing levels to perform these services, but we cannot at this time.
Understood. I think we lament that because that's a core operation for our Bureau, for our department too as well. So I guess that's one of the casualties of doing business or employment. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Anything further on this one? I'll make a motion on agenda item number 1. Is there a second on number 1? Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Rivas. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending one forthwith? We'll send one forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Agenda item number 4, we have an oral report from Mr. Gaines on solid resources collection yard activities from the Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, President, Commissioners, Bureau Heads, Council, Executive Officer. Name is Lloyd Gaines with the LA Sanitation Department, here for an oral report. Since the last report, not much has changed from what we're doing. Just to recap, we have, as far as customers, single-family residents, we have 750,000 customers we serve a week. We also have about 500,000 multifamily customer units that we serve that are bulky related. We have about 6 locations spread across the city we call waysheds or districts. In terms of collection, each one of those locations collect about 1,000 tons of combined material, and that's refuse, green waste, recycle, and bulky items. And then as far as our alternative fuel trucks, we have Just about 700 vehicles, and 5 of those vehicles are operating off of natural gas, and that's about 77% of our fleet as we continue to try to get to 100%. When it comes to programs, we service the Los Angeles World Airport. We continue to collect our refuse collection and recycling materials. That's about 60 tons of refuse a year and about 15 tons of recycle. We also work with Los Angeles Unified School Districts. About 483 of the schools are enrolled in our program. We collect their recycling material, and a third of those schools are in the Valley area of our division, and it consists mostly of elementary schools. With one of our districts, our western wayshed, that was our final district we completed our alternative fuel site on. And it was done in 2 phases. The first phase was to put the equipment in and stage all the locations where the trucks can plug in their hoses. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Mr. Gaines, could I just interrupt you for one moment? We have obviously some special guests with us today, and I see our, hey guys, hi. I see our former Deputy Mayor Kelly Bernard as well. Good morning, Ms. Bernard. Who do we have with us today?
Elementary school, and so they are open charters in Westchester, and they are visiting today. They're in Councilman Bonin's district, and so we understand that council is not in session, but we wanted to bring them by and do a tour, and they've been studying the LA River in class.
Oh, great. Oh, okay.
And so they're going to hear a little bit about the river and the 6th Street Bridge, and they're building their own bridges as well. So we wanted to bring them by and say hello, and, won't interrupt, but thank you for taking them.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And let me just take a few minutes. Obviously, you've heard a bit about what we do here in the Department of Public Works. And those of us, there are 5 of us that sit as the Board of Public Works in oversight of the entire department. And we are appointed by Mayor Garcetti. And then after we are appointed, the City Council approves our appointment. And so we started with Mayor Garcetti, 4 years ago now, almost starting year 5. And we oversee much of the city's infrastructure that affect your lives every day, like the streets and sidewalks and all of the street trees in the city of Los Angeles. As Ms. Bernard said, yes, and street lighting. And as Ms. Bernard said, the LA River, our point person for the LA River is, she's out of town actually, Heather Repenning, on city business. But we have a regular point person on the LA River, and while we all work on it, she's the lead for us on the river. And the 6th Street Bridge, Commissioner Jacinto right here works with the Bureau of Engineering on the 6th Street Bridge, and Commissioner Davis works with our Bureau of Contract Administration and does much of the work that's involved in South Los Angeles. And Commissioner Rivas, to my right, actually has worked with, her background is working with young girls in the Northeast Valley. So we come from all over the city to be your representatives, and we're turning this city over to you right now. We're in the process of that as you learn about our city, and we continue to work until the time that we leave here. So welcome to your City Hall, and we're really glad that you had the opportunity to come in and see a little bit of what's actually happening. We're getting an oral report right now from our Bureau of Sanitation. Commissioner Jacinto, you want to say something?
Yes, I did. Thank you, President James Kelly. Great to see you. Westchester, I am your liaison for Council District 11. And young people, I would love to come and visit your school and to give you a presentation on our sidewalk program, because we are fixing our sidewalks. And we know in Westchester along Sepulveda, there's lots of sidewalks that are damaged. And if you have a sidewalk that's damaged in front of your house or along your street, maybe we can work together to do some observation and do some mapping so we can get those sidewalks fixed, okay? So I'd like to come out and visit you folks. Kelly?
Thank you. And Commissioner Rivas.
Hi.
Thank you for visiting us today. I know that a lot of people have never been to City Hall, and you're in 4th and 5th grade, and now you're here visiting us, so thanks. You mentioned, or someone mentioned that you're going to be building bridges, just like the 6th Street Bridge. Well, the Bureau of Engineering has a high school competition for high school students that they hold every year at Cal State LA, so maybe when you're in high school, you'll be able to enter the bridge competition and work with our engineers, to help you design, construct, and test a bridge. So I hope that you have a great time doing that, and thanks again for visiting us.
And Commissioner Rivas has an engineering background and from MIT in Boston.
So I studied engineering, and I got interested in engineering when I was in 5th grade. Because my teacher used to do projects with us. And I just kept going, and next thing you know, in high school, I was applying to college to study engineering. So whoever's presenting today to you about the 6th Street Bridge, ask them a lot of questions of what it's like to be an engineer, okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Davis, now Commissioner Davis, before he came to the Board of Public Works, Commissioner Davis was one of our state legislators in Sacramento. And so he was elected to represent the south sections of Los Angeles, and now we have him with us here on the Board of Public Works. Commissioner Davis?
Thank you. Thank you, President James. I want to say how pleased I am to see our former Deputy Mayor, Kelly Bernard, who is your chaperone today. But also I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to come to Public Works. As has been discussed with you, we help control the infrastructure of the city of Los Angeles. But what I do in terms of working with this board is working with contracts, because our city also helps to provide job opportunities and jobs, in fact, for residents of our city. And one of the things we care about in that is to make sure that people from various neighborhoods, and quite actually from every community, gets an equal opportunity to be involved in the contracting and the jobs that we provide. So all of the work that we help manage, there has to be someone to do the work, to build those things, to cut those lights on, to pick up that trash, and all of those things result in jobs. And so we care very much about making Los Angeles the most beautiful big city in America, but also a city that helps to provide an economic investment, a return on the tax dollars that our citizens get. So I thank each and every one of you for coming, and I hope in your whole trip that there's something that you learn and are motivated by as a result of your trip that you have today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Is there anyone in the room that is thinking about being a lawyer one day? Okay, well, that's my background. I was a lawyer before I came to the Board of Public Works. So I always encourage young people as well that are considering that field to give it a good look as you grow older in your studies. And just a little bit of information as you leave this morning about the room that we're in. This is one of my favorite rooms in all of the city of Los Angeles. And this room, because of its location and because of how beautiful it is, it's used a lot in the city for filming television and movies. So recently we've had some TV shows that have actually filmed in here. The TV show Veep that's on TV, the area that we're sitting in right now, was made to look like the White House conference room in Washington, D.C. And the same area was in the movie A Few Good Men, which some of you might see when you get a little older. This was the actual courtroom setting, and these were the actual chairs that they ended up using in that movie. And the TV show Scandal was here, and the TV show Bones. This was made to look like a church for the TV show Bones. So this room, while it is our hearing room for Board of Public Works meetings and for City Council committee hearings, it also serves the entertainment industry as well for movies and television. So thank you for coming today, and enjoy your stay. And thank you, Ms. Bernard. Mr. Gaines, and all these other people sitting with us, they all work for our various bureaus, and even our city attorney is here to make sure that we follow all the laws. Mr. Gaines, go ahead, sir.
That was a nice surprise. So,
Thank you.
As I was saying, with one of our last yards to get to alternative fuel is the West LA District Yard. Project started in about 2014. It had 2 phases. The first phase was to get all the equipment in and stage all the locations where the trucks plug in slow fill for that. The second phase was for the repair shops where the vehicles had to go in there, and it wasn't to code dealing with alternative fuel versus diesel fuel. So that took a couple of more years, which I'm happy to say they finally finished that last week. And they're just going through a punch list now just to check off everything and close that out. So that facility will be done shortly. Also with the Los Angeles World Airport, they're kicking off their, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, Earth Day, their first organic food waste pilot program there. They're going to be starting off with a few concession stands, and we're going to be involved with that and helping them collect it. They anticipate over 100 concession stands and eventually being involved in the food waste program. And we're going to take that food waste to a facility so it'll be processed as an aerobic digester and turned into gas that's reusable. And we're also looking into a dedicated electric trash truck. We are looking into working with 2 vendors with that to pilot a couple of trash trucks to see how that's going to benefit us in terms of using, the technology with batteries. It's still kind of a new territory right now. I believe I mentioned it last time. We do have one vehicle at one of our yards that is a smaller vehicle. It's a rear loading vehicle. And it's there so that we can test it, play with it, see how long it takes to charge, how long the charge stays, and all the things that it needs to do as a trash truck, because the energy required is totally different than a regular vehicle. So we're working with that right now. And lastly, tomorrow we're sponsoring an Earth Day at the Exposition Park. And one of the companies that we're working with are going to sponsor us with a couple of all-electric buses that's going to go from Marshall High School to Exposition Park back and forth, taking kids and stuff back and forth. So that's going to be interesting. So, and that's all I have.
Great, thank you, sir. Well, I will see you tomorrow at the Earth Day activities. Any questions at all? Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Just a comment, Lloyd. Great report. Really exciting to hear about the electric trash trucks. I mean, that's huge, right, in terms of the impact to the environment. And we understand that, like the battery load and being able to power a big truck, a vehicle is different than a smaller one too. So hopefully we can secure that technology. Let's talk to Elon Musk or something.
I'm excited about that.
Get those big batteries. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis.
I wanted to ask, does your report, this is solid waste and refuge, right?
Yes.
And does it include the residential coverage of solid waste?
Curbside collection?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thanks. That's what's more clear.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? Great, sir. The oral report will be received.
All right, thank you.
See you again soon.
All right.
Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we are adjourned this morning. Thank you, everyone.